Most famous people put their pants on one leg at a time, just like anybody else. You know who knew that? A man by the name of Fred Smith, the founder of FedEx. Fred passed away this weekend, and to me, that's hard to process. He's been an unstoppable force for ages, Yale graduate, dedicated Marine, and a visionary who changed everything because he knew that there had to be a better way to send mail than the U.S. Postal Service. So he came up with overnight mail. The rest was history, but not easy history. When at Yale, Fred wrote his economics thesis on overnight delivery. He got a C, and the ill-advised professor thought it impractical. No, Fred didn't set out immediately to prove him wrong. He joined the Marine Corps after graduating. He told me recently that going to Vietnam was what you did because you loved the country. That's the way it was. He did not one but two tours in Vietnam, finishing as a captain, having been awarded the Silver Star, Bronze Star, and 2 Purple Hearts. In short, Fred was a hero. Only then did he come back home to start his vision, 71. Burning through his inheritance and a nice chunk of venture capitalist money, down to his last $5,000, stung by rising fuel costs. Fred went to Vegas and won big at blackjack, north of 25 grand, he told me, saving the company with the proceeds. I first got to know Fred a couple dozen years ago when he was a regular guest on Kudlow and Cramer, my old talk show, which we pitched as sort of a business-oriented version of Crossfire. He was our show's chief economist, one of the few individuals that both Larry Kudlow and I trusted. He was pretty much right all the time. Fred was an admitted globalist who knew that commerce was a uniting force that could bring down barriers. It was a good thing. He was at the forefront using robots to replace humans at the loading dock because humans, he would tell you, were in short supply. I stayed in touch with Fred when we went to the Eagles-Steelers game last fall. We got to go on the field and spend some time with his son, Arthur Smith, the Steelers' offensive coordinator. Fred talked business with me, but what he really wanted to talk about was how proud he was of his kids. And he and my wife would chat just about that. She got to sit next to him at a presentation by Drew Brees, legendary Saints quarterback, and the current quarterback from the Bengals, Joe Burrow, right before the Super Bowl in New Orleans. My wife's a great judge of character, someone who typically disdains captains of industry because of their lack of humility. That sure wasn't Fred. She loved him. When we weren't talking football, he talked Marines. He had a picture of his outfit in his wallet, and he showed me how many men in that picture died for our country. I told him about my dad, who got a Bronze Star during World War II in Lady Gulf. He was so proud of my pop and looked him up at this thing called the American Battle Monuments Foundation, one of the many charities he supported. Fred was monumentally charitable. I gave and will continue to give to that charity in his honor. Fred can be remembered for so many things, but since this is a business show, I want to acknowledge that he was someone who had a dream and he made that dream happen. Too often we only hear about dreams coming true in Silicon Valley. But you need to know that Fred was a pioneer just like those greats out there. He created something genuinely useful that changed the world. He did this while staying humble. He always introduced himself as someone from FedEx, not the founder, the former CEO, or the CEO, just another worker. But he created, he executed, and now we all know it and use it. Remember, one time FedEx didn't exist as anything more than a college thesis with a mediocre grade. Then when he got back from the war, he pulled it off for the greater good while never being anything other than Fred Smith, a real good dad and a husband who ran a business that did indeed change all of us. Fred, we will sure miss you. You were the best we had. I like to say that there's always a bull market somewhere. I promise to try to find it just for you right here on Mad Money. I'm Jim Cramer. See you tomorrow.